Today, almost 2 years after that fateful day in January 2021, that still Donald Trump and his allies and supporters are a clear and present danger to American democracy.
That was one of the most powerful and memorable moments of the January 6th committee hearings. Judge J. Michael Luttig, a top conservative legal scholar, warning us about the threat that ex-President Trump continues to pose to this country and its democracy. And now that Trump has launched his third bid for the presidency, that danger is once again front of mind. If he were to earn the nomination and lose in 2024, Trump and his allies could very well try to overturn that election and could succeed where they failed the last time. Or could they? Judge Luttig, who served on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit, joins me now. Judge, thank you for being with us. It's important to talk to you. You and I have spoken specifically about the Electoral Count Act, about Moore v. Harper, the case before the Supreme Court. But when you testified January 6th, you talked about the clear and present danger that Donald Trump and his allies pose, and that is posed by our structures that are not strong enough sometimes to withhold that. What do you think of the state we're in today?
Thank you for having me on this evening, Ali. It's really my pleasure. Let me answer that question through the wider lens that I'm looking at all of the recent events and developments through. As of tonight, I do still believe that the former president and his allies represent a threat to American democracy. But figuratively speaking, tomorrow, and literally speaking in the days and the months that follow, I believe the former president and his allies will not represent the same clear and present danger to our democracy, if any at all. First, the January 6th committee's investigations, findings, and referrals are immensely consequential for the former president. Because of the fundamental integrity of the committee's investigation and the solemnity of its findings and recommendations, its report and recommendations are entitled to great weight, deserving of great weight, and it can be expected that they will carry great weight with the Attorney General as he decides whether the former president should be charged with crimes against the United States for his conduct on January 6th. The former president's accountability and ultimately his liability for January 6th now hangs over him like the proverbial sword of Damocles. The poetic justice of these hearings is that the former president set out to denigrate the January 6th committee and end the political careers of its members. And it is likely that the committee will end the political career of the president instead. The former president, of course, targeted Congresswoman Liz Cheney in particular, and it will likely be Liz Cheney who ends the former president's political career, not the former president who ends her political career. Second, by the end of today, tomorrow, it appears that Congress will have passed legislation reforming the Electoral Count Act. The principal law, in addition to the Constitution itself, that the former president and his allies exploited in their effort to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Passage of this reform has always been essential if the country is to avoid another January 6th in 2024. And third, the former president's seeming political dominance over the Republican Party was significantly diminished in the midterm elections when so many of his chosen candidates went down to defeat. So these three developments, together with the former president's recent provocation on Truth Social that the Constitution of the United States should be terminated and he should be immediately installed as the president of the United States. All of this all of this just over the past 2 weeks alone are crippling of the former president, legally, and perhaps more important, politically. I believe that the Republican Party will have no choice but to begin to distance itself from the former president and to a new party leader. I believe they will conclude that the convergence of all of these events and developments in this moment, on the eve of the beginning of the 2024 presidential campaign, offers them the opportunity that they've wanted to move forward with new leadership.
What has to happen for that to happen? You used very interesting language, because a lot of people are saying that the criminal referrals from the committee carry no weight. You used very specific language as a jurist. You said they are entitled to and deserving of great weight to the Attorney General. In other words, until the Attorney General or Jack Smith decide to do something with it, it has no legal weight, but you believe that the weight of those referrals are significant, and the way they are presented will have influence on the Attorney General or on Jack Smith.
Allie, the conventional wisdom, is always that criminal referrals from Congress carry no weight whatsoever. When that's said, it only means that the Attorney General is not obliged by law or otherwise to consider those criminal referrals. They always carry weight. In this instance, because of the gravity of the investigation, and as I said, the integrity and the solemnity of the findings and the referrals themselves, this is unlike any time in history for congressional referrals to the Department of Justice. There is no question at all that these findings and the evidence that supports these findings, most particularly, will carry great weight with the Attorney General as he makes that final decision.
Judge Luttig, are we out of the woods about something like this happening again? Has enough changed with the Electoral Count Act and the things that this committee has found out? Or are we still in danger of somebody like Donald Trump and his allies creating a clear and present danger, as you call it, to democracy?
As of tonight, for the first time, Alec, I believe that we are going to shore up our institutions of law and the institutions of our democracy, such that there will never be another January 6th. That the first piece of that is the passage tomorrow of the Electoral Count Act and the signature of the President of the United States thereafter. Once that's done, that removes the principal means by which the former president tried to overturn the 2020 presidential election. The only other piece that remains is the one that you and I have talked about previously, and that is the Supreme Court's resolution of the independent state legislature theory, which it will decide in Moore versus Harper.
And we'll keep a close eye on that. Judge, thanks. It's always good to see you, my friend. Judge Michael Luttig.